Yesterday, two living former presidents, George W. Bush and Barack Obama, were charged with the task of eulogizing Senator John McCain at the Washington National Cathedral. After reading their remarks, I shared both of their speeches on my Facebook page. As you may remember, both of these gentlemen defeated then-candidate McCain for the GOP nomination back against Bush and as the GOP candidate in the general election to President Obama. He had been their opponents in debate and at the ballot box. And so, as President Obama remarked, perhaps this was John's way of having the last laugh by making them say nice things about him. The soaring words of both presidents carried honor and respect for a once formidable foe at the highest level in the game of American politics. President Bush remembered that Senator McCain really didn't glory in success or wallow in failure because he was always on to the next thing. As one of his books ended, he said, "And I moved on." No one would say that Senator McCain was perfect or was slow to speak or to grow angry, but he definitely listened. And when he did speak or grow angry, he understood what James wrote when he said, "Therefore, with humility, set aside all moral filth and the growth of wickedness, and welcome the word planted deep inside you, the very word that is able to save you." As President Obama said, to know John was to know that as quick as his passions might flare, he was just as quick to forgive and ask for forgiveness. He knew more than most his own flaws and his blind spots, and he knew how to laugh at himself. And that self-awareness made him all the more compelling. The author of the book of James used the metaphor of a mirror that reflects back to the viewer all of God's grace, all of God's love, all of God's peace and joy working in their life. Typically, when we think of mirrors, we think of them as reflecting our true self, the one we may be a bit uncomfortable with, the one we may think is not good enough or worthy of God's grace, God's love, God's peace. But even mirrors may be deceiving. Think fun houses for a moment, where you may see yourself as taller or shorter than you really are, as narrower or wider than you really are, and a host of other distortions they may make. The evangelist here is thinking not so much of a mirror, but rather of the imago Dei, or image of who we are as children created in the image of God, our eternal parent, our Creator. So when the evangelist talks about a mirror, the mirror that's reflecting is reflecting the image of God we are created in. Imagine what it would be like if you looked into the mirror each morning and saw the image of God staring back at you. You do. You just may not recognize it. How would that change your behavior during the day if every morning you rubbed the sleep from your eyes and said, "Good morning, God," recognizing the grace, the love, the peace, and joy of God present right there in your bathrobe, unshaven, no makeup, even before coffee? The only appropriate response would be gratitude. The only appropriate response would be gratitude. Of course, we may have a humbling response. And gratitude is a humbling response. The only appropriate response is deep gratitude that compels you to be a doer and not just a hearer of the word, who turns away from the grace, love, peace, and joy of God back into the world filled with judgment, filled with hatred and violence and sorrow. The evangelist here, in effect, wants to say that when you know who you are, whose you are, to whom you belong, and see yourself as a full recipient of the perfect gift of salvation demonstrated in Jesus Christ, then you can't be just an audience member. You can't just be a consumer of the good news. You have to just do it. You have to just do it. It's like the first commercial for Nike's Just Do It campaign back in 1988.
I run 17 miles every morning. People ask me how I keep my teeth from chattering in the wintertime. I leave in my locker.
Good old Walt Stack, 80 years old, running across the Golden Gate Bridge. You leave whatever may keep you from just doing it in your locker, even if it's your false teeth. So just do it, is what the author's saying to us. Just do it like Abraham and Sarah, who left all their worldly security and became the ancestors of multitudes. Just do it like Moses, who at first begged God to send his brother Aaron to take on Pharaoh and lead his people to freedom. Just do it like Esther, whose risky sacrifice saved her people. Just do it like Mary, who bravely said yes to God and became a blessing to future generations. Just do it like Martin Luther, who nailed his protest to the church door and became the father of a reformation, opening the way for many to be welcomed into the church and at the table of the Lord. Just do it like Dr. King, who inspired a movement for all people to judge by the content of one's character and not by the color of another's skin. Just do it like Cesar Chavez, who organized a labor movement for fair working conditions. Just do it. Just do it like the small group of charter members of this congregation who gathered 125 years ago to begin a movement for wholeness to heal a fragmented community. Just do it like the Kennedys, the Dittricks, the McCrackens and Flowhouses, whose legacies of leadership and service helped bring us to where we are today. Imagine what it would be like if you looked into the mirror each day and saw the image of God staring right back at you. Saw the grace, the love, the peace, the joy, the perfect gifts of God all around you, working within you and through you. No doubt you'd be slower to anger, quicker to listen, slower to speak words of judgment, words of hatred, words of violence, and words of sorrow. No doubt you'd be empowered to do justice, to love kindness, and to practice mercy, to walk humbly with God. There's no doubt you'd have purpose and vision for your life as a child of God, forgiven fully, loved completely, and set free. Free to let go of past failures and to move on. Free to accept yourself just as you are, despite your faults. free to be quick to forgive and to ask for forgiveness. Do you want these blessings in your life? Do you want those blessings in your life? Then just do it. Be a doer of the good news. Not because you believe it somehow makes you better than any other person. Just do it because you are a better person than you once were. Just do it because you are compelled by a higher set of values and eternal truths. Just do it because you have experienced the incredible power of God's grace, love, peace, and joy in Jesus. Just do it because you can't possibly keep all of that to yourself. To yourself. Friends, God has blessed us with every perfect gift. So go and just do it. Amen.